It is New Jersey's oldest legend, appearing even before the 13 colonies. The New Jersey Devil has dwelled in the Pine Barrens for over 100 years. Many have claimed that he is as real as you and I.
So I believe there's something down here.
And many claim that it's just a hoax.
I am not a believer in the Jersey Devil.
Either way, it's sparked the interest of many research teams and enthusiasts alike. We dive into the legend that is the New Jersey Devil and find out what exactly it is.
When the sun goes down and the air gets still, and the hollow call of the whippoorwill sends a chill up your spine, get ready, it's time for the Pine Barrens night. And it makes you want to run and hide, find a safer place somewhere inside, away from what could be. That son of Mrs. Lee's still here in the Pine Barrens night.
The Pine Barrens, a beautiful but thick swampy forest that covers 22% of New Jersey, is primarily the setting of the legend. Brian Johnson, the owner of Urban Legends, a store full of spiritual and New Age merchandise, and as Brian describes it, a socially conscious boutique.
Our premise is that it's people before profits, so we like bumper stickers like we have on the walls here that are very socially conscious minded. Only when the last tree has died, the last river has been poisoned, and the last fish has been caught, will we realize that we cannot eat money. Therefore, money cannot be the bottom line for any business if you're really thinking about things in a wise way. Okay?
Brian has been outspoken in his beliefs for the preservation of the area.
Pine Barrens need to be preserved as pristinely as possible, and we should be able to live within that Pine Barren system in a symbiotic way.
It is a quiet and peaceful forest, a place to enjoy nature and all of its beauty it has to offer. However, there's a darker side to this tranquil piece of land. The story goes that over 100 years ago, a pregnant woman known as Mother Leeds was about to birth her 13th child. She exclaimed, "Let it be the devil." While in labor, the child was born normal at first with blonde hair and blue eyes, but a few minutes after birth, began to morph into a ghastly creature. He devoured most of the people in his mother's bedroom before he escaped through the chimney and into the pines, where he has lived to this day. Over the years, this creature gained a reputation around New Jersey. Many speculate he still exists somewhere deep in the pines. He has had many sightings, dating even further back than the settlement of the colonists. However, there are many that are skeptical about the Jersey Devil. Chris Miggis has frequented the Pine Barrens many times before. He has completed several survival courses in the wild Pine Barrens with nothing but his bare hands and wits.
So, on the subject of the Jersey Devil, I am not a believer in the Jersey Devil. I think it's really cool, the legends, the myth. It just adds to the mystique of the Pine Barrens, to its mystery. We would find some evidence of him, and there is none. There are no kills. We're assuming he's a man-eater, not a man-eater, but a carnivore or omnivore. There are no kills. There are no tracks. Every animal that touches the ground is going to leave a track.
To many, there is an explanation as to what the New Jersey Devil can actually be. Mike is the owner of the store Underground in Smithville. The store specializes in punk rock clothing and accessories, but Mike also happens to sell plenty of Jersey Devil merchandise. His personal beliefs however, disagree with the products he sells.
I mean, we've seen weird stuff. I mean, we were walking the dog one day and saw a very large owl, larger than any owl should be, that had a wingspan of, I don't know, probably looked like 6 feet or so.
Still, there have been so many reported sightings of the New Jersey Devil for well over 100 years. And despite the span of time the New Jersey Devil legend has lasted, there are many that still strongly believe in the creature. In fact, there are still many reported sightings of him today. Chris Roky is a college student in the area. He has spent a lot of his time in the Pine Barrens.
I 100% believe in the Jersey Devil and other things like it.
Chris has never actually seen the Jersey Devil himself, but like many of the students in the area, he keeps up with all the latest sightings.
There was an article in the newspaper, I think it was within the last 4 months, and people were talking about it, and it was like a zoomed in blurry picture, and I know there was an article about it.
Many would find this latest sighting to be a hoax. However, there are many that truly believe in the creature and have in fact seen it. Paul Patterson is a published author of the book Legendary Pine Barrens. He has also written many songs about this mysterious place. But it was his encounter with the New Jersey Devil that caught his attention and attracted him even further into the pines.
Ever since I was a fireman in Lakeland, and we had 2 ladies thrown off their horses by what they reported to be the Jersey Devil. So it's officially reported in the Camden County Fire Marshal's office that the Jersey Devil threw these, it was a lady and her daughter, and they were riding their horses up on the other side of the fire station, and we heard the commotion and went back to see what happened, and there they were on the ground brushing themselves off, and we said, what happened? Why'd your horses throw you? Well, this thing came out of the woods and scared the horses, and the horses reared up and off we went. So that was from that time on I became very interested in the Jersey Devil. I've had the experience with him in the fire station. I had something in my cellar one time when I was babysitting my sister, and I went through that on Monsters and Mysteries in America. They did an episode of it. I had an experience with my stepson that was chased up my street by something that was stalking him. And here recently I was doing a book signing in this area, and we were going up Route 561 with me and my publisher, and we saw something cross the road. I don't know what it is, and he doesn't either. He won't admit to it. But we both just looked at each other and went, did you see that? Yeah, we saw, definitely.
The New Jersey Devil seems as if he still roams the pines to this day. Even some of his bloodlines still live in the Pine Barrens. Author Bill Sprouse is a descendant of Mother Leeds.
My grandmother was a Leeds from Leeds Point when I was a little kid. She had a sense of humor, and she told us that we were all distantly related to the Jersey Devil.
Bill isn't interested in finding out if the New Jersey Devil is real or not. Rather, he spends his time looking at how this myth has intertwined itself with history.
And it goes into the possible origins of the story with Daniel Leeds and some of the fights that he was in with the Quakers, some of the fights that one of his children was in with Benjamin Franklin. And it's also a history of the story. It kind of traces the way the story has evolved over the years. When I was starting out Galloway Township, where we are, there was an initiative to name the town the hometown of the Jersey Devil. So it was sort of a symbol of regional identity, pride, and everything like that.
But sightings of old NJ still flood the archives of a very well-known magazine in New Jersey, Weird NJ.
This is Mark Moran, and I'm Mark Skirman.
Or the other way around.
And we're going to talk about the infamous Jersey Devil. Now, you know, with the magazine, we get a lot of stories up until the present day about people in the Pine Barrens camping at night, hearing some strange sounds and sights and
unearthly.
yeah, so it's still prevalent today. I mean, is it a legend? Is it real? I tend to think there is something out there. There is something that just when you're camping in the Pine Barrens in the dead of night and you hear something, you always think it's something supernatural. So I tend to believe that it's supernatural. It is the Jersey Devil.
I don't, I don't put a lot of credence in those newspaper articles, like from the 1909 incident, because it seemed like a mass hysteria thing where people were feeding on other people's stories and adding to it. I put more credence in the letters that we get from our readers, New Jersey residents, which are extremely vivid and believable, and these people have no reason to lie to us. So, and they just want to tell. They're legitimate story. People, and they tell these stories. And some of them are cops. We've had people who worked on military bases like McGuire or Fort Dix. And they'll tell you, I got off my shift at 2 in the morning, and I was, driving home, and I all of a sudden, there's this creature in the middle of Route 70, or something like that.
On the side of the road. I remember one story. Thing said it had this big wings, and this was a policeman. Thing had this big wings, just crawled out onto the side of the road and just took off. So he doesn't really have any reason to.
Yeah, I mean, we're not paying anybody for their stories.
The stories haven't stopped coming in. Mark and Mark of Weird and Jay are right in saying, what reason do these people have to make up stories? Seeing things like this change a person for life. One recent sighting changed this young man forever.
So, it was actually on Halloween. I was driving down the road with my friends, and we were driving down Leeds Point. When all of a sudden, I was looking down the forest, and I saw bat wings. Like, literally bat wings. I was like, is that? No, it can't be.
Still, we wonder if the Jersey Devil is really out there.
Now, if you Google Dimorphodon, you will see a creature that was a prehistoric creature that looks exactly like what people are describing now. So who knows if it's a carryover, from ages gone by. If there was anything for something like that to survive after all this time, it would be in the Pine Barrens. Well, I've told some stories and I've sung some songs. Mostly about places where I don't belong.
I think we have a treasure, knowing that it's so close to us and it's all around us. So this is all that we call Mother Earth Big Mom. This is all Big Mom's juice out there. It's some of her power and strength, some of her smells, some of her, all how the earth feels under your feet. These things we need to give respect for. Without those, we have nothing. We have nothing.
Lines on the pines. Let me sing you a story with my lines on the pines. From the pygmy pine highlands to the swamps near the shore.
Jersey Devil lore is actually a lot of fun. The Leeds family story is just really interesting and a lot of fun.
And though the old Jersey Devil may scream in the dark, and I've heard it a couple times, when you hear it, you'll never forget it. Pineys keep making our mark.
We might not have a definitive answer on the existence of the old New Jersey Devil. However, his legend lives on in the Pine Barrens forever.
On the pines. Let me sing you a story with my lines on the pines. Let me sing you my story with my lines on the pines.